Hey everyone, Kevin Muldoon here. What I'm going to be doing in this video is talking about my Sony ICD-SX2000 audio recorder. Now, I did an unboxing and a first impressions video about this a few months ago. I was hoping to get some more videos out before then, but I wanted to spend some time getting to know how it works. I've been using it every single day for a couple of months now, and I think it's fantastic. I really do love this audio recorder. I don't see myself selling it, well, ever really, maybe 5-10 years down the line. I think it's a fantastic recorder. It retails for around £200 in the UK. I paid about £190 just after it came out, and there aren't a lot of videos about it, and Sony haven't really done a lot of marketing for it either. I suspect it's around $200 around the world. Now, in the first video I did an unboxing, I did some audio tests. I'll link to that video below. I also did another kind of comparison video where I showed you how this sounded on its own, how it sounded with the foam windshield, and how it sounded outside with the furry windscreen. So I'll link to that as well. But in this video, what I'd like to do is show you the physical characteristics of this. I'd like to show you the software, the menu system, and I'd like to show you the smartphone app as well. This video is for anyone who is thinking about buying this audio recorder. If you're not in the market for this one, or something like it, if you're looking for something like a Zoom H1, I think you'll maybe enjoy this video. But if you're not, switch off, because this is going to be a long video, it's going to be a detailed video, and it's going to be a hell of a boring if you're not interested in something like this. Okay, enough small talk, let's look at the audio recorder. So you can see here, this was the box that it came in. It's got some basic information in the back, and just to quickly go over what you got in the box, you got the foam windshield, you got this really cool little case, little leather case, fits perfectly. It doesn't fit in with the foam windshield, I tend to keep this separately. And also comes with this, and the reason it comes with that is because of that retractable USB. So I use it, most of the time I use it just like this. I use it kind of naked, as it were, and I use it just with the system like that. But when I'm not using my laptop and I'm on my iMac, I'll use this accessory to extend it. I really can't stress how good this feature is. It sounds like it's a bit gimmicky, it sounds like it's just a little handy feature, but it really does make a huge difference, and I'll just quickly show you why. Really, I mean, my previous audio recorder, I was constantly taking out the micro SD card, putting it back in, put it back in. And this one, I'll just bring you up. All you do, even if it's switched off, it doesn't matter if it's switched off, you put it in, it will pop up. And there's your files, that's it. And they're stored in different categories. Record file is where most of mine will be, and you can see all the files there. So I'll just take you around the audio recorder and let you see what this is like. It's super light, it really is small, and it's got a great little design. The bottom there, you've got the tripod thread, and you can see there's a big circular mark, because when you put your tripod in, it's kind of hard avoiding that. The bottom, you've got your headphone jack, and at the side you've got an external mic input. So take this little video micro, you can plug it in like that. You've got your mics at the top, and on the microphones, this is the zoom setting. You can change it to X, Y, and you can change it to wide if you want to record music. Here you've got your power, and you've got a hold setting, so that when you're recording you're not going to change any settings. I don't tend to use the hold setting, but there was one time when I didn't use it and I did press a button by accident and I stopped recording. You've got volume there for playback. It goes from about 0 to 30 I think, but it's really, it's really not loud at all. You really should use headphones with it. And finally you've got the headphone jack there, and you've got a little bit for a string, would you call it, to clip it on if you want to put a strap on. Now in the buttons here, you've got stop, you've got record, pause, and then you've got your play system here. can see the backlight going on and off there. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. So it works really well because when you push record, it starts flashing red. It starts displaying red, sorry. When you press pause, it will flash. It's really useful because I can see at a distance when I'm recording now. I can see if it's recording, I can see if it's paused, and I can see if it's recording. So when you stop it, the red light will go off. And you've got play, all the playback there. I'll go through this in a bit. So you've got stop, you've got buttons there. That's digital pitch control, that's what DPC is. And then you've got AB, this is for playback. Now up here you've got back, T-mark and option. Now if you hold back, you'll go back to wherever you were. So if we go down here, back takes you all the way up. But if you're in and you hold back, then you will go all the way back to the home menu. You can see it's starting to play a recording there. So the thing I love about this really is it's really the ease of use. I mean, you've got the USB retractable USB stick, and it really is very, very helpful. It sounds like it's just a little bit gimmicky, but it's fantastic. But there's another thing that I love about this as well. Audio recorders such as the Zoom H1, and I mean I have been comparing this to the Zoom H1 because this is kind of a similar size, it's a similar market. The Zoom H1 retails for around £80–90 in the UK, so this is more than double the price. But this does have a lot of other benefits. One would be the battery. Now the battery on this is absolutely fantastic. It gets 30 hours, just by most recording formats. It's only if you pick the highest format that you don't get that. In fact, if I bring over the box here, I can show you what those are. You can see it's 30 hours if you record in all the MP3 formats and linear PCM at 44.1 kHz. I've been recording at the highest format, linear PCM, and it's 15 hours you get for that. Now, what I would say though is, I have never, not once, had to actually charge this, not once. I have yet to actually see this going down from full battery. And the reason for that is that, well, one, it's got great battery life, it's got a lithium battery, but when you plug this into your computer, it will automatically start charging. So it gets a little charge every time it's put into your system. And that means that I've never had to record this. Now, even if it's switched off, so if you switch it off, when you plug it into your PC like I did there, it automatically lights up and it starts connecting the files. When you take it out, it will auto power off after a while to save your battery, so you don't have to worry about being switched on. All of these things sounds like it's not a huge thing, but from a practicality point of view, day in, day out, this thing is fantastic. I really do love it. There are obviously some negatives about it. This isn't perfect because no device is. One little thing I have found is that when you put in the foam windshield, a lot of the time I find that when you put the windshield on, you've got the windshield like this, and sometimes when I've taken it off, I've found that one of the mics is like this. It's just, these things, in my opinion, they move too easy. That's one thing I really don't like about this. The mics move easy, so I mean it's good that you can move the mic so easily, but what I think Sony need to do, if they ever do another version of this, is put some sort of locking system in. They need some sort of button where perhaps you just hold the button, then you move the mics. Let go of the button, and then you can't move them. Hold the button, move the mics. As it stands, that isn't there, so what you need to do is just move them. But I have found that when you put the windshield on, maybe like 30–40% of the time, I'll take it off and one of the mics was moved away. And it's the same, this is a Movo windscreen that I bought. It was the same with that. You put it on, it's probably less common with this, it's more about the foam windshield. But when you put it on, occasionally, this mic has moved to the side. It is more common when you're using the foam windshield that's provided. So, what I would say just quickly, I mean I have done an audio test and I'll do some more in another video. But I would say that the audio quality in this is really, really good. It really does punch above its weight, and you know, with the windscreen on, this is a fantastic audio recorder for outside. Now you're not going to compare this to a top of the range microphone because, you know, at the end of the day, look at the size of the microphones, it's just a little portable audio recorder. But the performance in this is better than the Video Micro. It's better than a lot of other microphones that retail around the $100 mark. I have found that my new Shure VP83 is a better mic, but what I always do is I use the Shure either with the camera. When I'm not using it with the camera, I'll use it with this. One part that I didn't notice there, actually that I forgot before, is the micro SD slot. So apologies for missing out before. Now that's at the side, and the reason that I missed that is because I've yet to use it. This has got 16 gigabytes of online of built-in storage, and I believe it can take up to, is it 64 or 120 gigabytes? I'm not sure about the capacity actually, I'll need to check that. But it can take a micro SD to expand the storage. Now you can do cross recording on this as well, so that if you're recording in one format and then it runs out of storage, if the built-in storage runs out, you can then it'll cross record and start recording on the micro SD card. So that's really useful. The only thing is there are some limitations with the linear PCM, the highest setting. That's the best high-res audio that you get. It's one of the selling points of this. When you record with a high-res audio, I believe you can only use it with the built-in storage. But for me, that isn't a problem. You get about 6-7 hours for that. I'm always transferring files, and I'm always, you know, clearing the files so that I don't have to worry about there ever being storage being running out. I always just, you know, I probably wait for about 4 or 5 days, and I've probably only used about a couple of gigabytes at most, and then I clear it, you know, after I've copied the files over. What I like to do now is just take you through the menu system. So I'll zoom in a little bit, and I'll help you see how this thing works. So go back to the home, and hopefully, okay, now my camera. I'm recording using the RX100 Mark III, which is not the one I usually use, but I'm using the other one to record the audio. Okay, so we've got music here, right? That's something, I mean, you can use this as an MP3 player. It's not something I've got any interest in doing. I've got my smartphone, but you know, it's there if you want it. Okay, recorded files. So this is going to be a list of all your files, and you can see here it goes by, you can click on the last recording. You can, oh, it's playing now. You can search by record date, so you go to the date and you can see all the recordings from that day. You can search by scene. That's something you'll see soon, that there's different scenes that you can record through this. Now I've pretty much got on interview all the time because, you know, I'm doing videos like this, so I don't really need, you know, like lectures or anything like that. And it's still playing. And then you've got folders, and you've got built-in memory. Obviously I've not got an SD card in. And then you've got the built-in memory there. Now, one thing to note is the option button. When you're in a folder, there is different things that you can do using this option button. If you click option there, you can see you can protect a file, delete it, you can delete all files. That's something I do quite a lot, you know, when I want to clear it. It makes it easier for me when I'm actually transferring files, you know, to find out if, you know, if I've got 50 different audio recordings and I've copied them all to my computer, I'll delete all the files so that I know that, you know, if there's only 2 or 3 files, those are the ones that I recorded that day. You can move, copy file, you can move it from built-in memory to the SD card, copy it over and all that kind of thing. Change the file name, and there's file information as well. So these things are all useful for finding a particular recording. You'll see there, it's got a lot of information about the settings that were used. So there was no limiter setting, there was noise cut that was activated, it was the external microphone that was used, it was the built-in memory. It's really useful. And when you're back here as well, there are some, is it here? Yeah, so there's like an option button there as well, create folder, delete folder. You can always use those option buttons for a lot of the settings. So if we go over to record, I'll try and show you what it's like to actually record something. You've got the record button here, and click record. and now you're recording. Now I think I've got this, yeah, I've got it on manual gain here. So I'm recording the audio. You can see that it's got level 18, but you can go all the way up to 30. And you can go all the way down to 0. Now 0 basically means mute, and 30 is the gain is too high, you'll hear a lot of buzzing. I tend to use it around the 21, 22 mark when I'm using the internal microphones. When I'm using an external microphone, it depends on the mic. I found that with my Shure, I normally use it between 15 and 18. You do kind of need to mess around with this to find out, you know, what works and what doesn't work, and it's different for each microphone, it's different for each camera. You know, if you've got this as an external audio recorder for your camera, you'll need to play around with the settings. There is an auto gain setting, but I've just found it's better to kind of play around with the manual settings. When you are recording, you can do a T mark, and it's quite useful having that button. You can see there I put a T mark there. I'll put another one. So when it comes to editing, these little things, these little T marks are very, very useful. Just, as I said earlier, you can pause it. So if you were doing a podcast and someone called, you could pause it and just click record again. So you see different settings there. Now I'm going to be looking at these settings in a second. These are all in the settings menu, and pushing option essentially just brings up a shortcut to the settings menu for recording. So I'll look at those in a second. But you can see a lot of the other information here. It's stopped. You can see that'll change to record. You can see the gain level going up and down the different mics, the left and right mic. You can see the decibel level, the gain. You can see that the little man interviewing the other person, so you know you're in interview. You can see the time. You can see the recording format, LPCM. 96/24, and you can see the time here. I've got 6 hours 50 minutes left of recording, and you can see the battery. So when you first look at this, you're like, oh my god, what's happening here? There's so much information, but actually it's pretty simple. You know, you've got your recording at the moment at the top. There's recording, interview, gain level, time, recording format, time left, and battery. It really is simple. But you do have to spend time with this. It's just like anything else. You do need to spend time to get the most out of it. It's very, very, very simple. Now from here you can play back tracks as well. Now here you've got digital pitch control, and I've got it off, but what you can do is you can actually go down and slow it down to, I think it's 0.25 it goes down to if you want to slow down a track. And you can go all the way up as well, so you can speed it up to, I think it's around 3 or something like that. You can speed it up to around 3. See if I can do that. Now if that beep's annoying you, you can turn it off, but I just leave it on so that I know, you know, I like when you push the record button that there's a beeping sound. I find that helpful because I know that it's, you know, it started recording. When this is on, you'll see, look at the playback, so it's going much, much quicker. So that's what the DPC is all about, but I don't use that. Down here you've got AB, and this is useful if you want to play back a selection. So if this is playing, I can mark A, and if it keeps playing, so you can see it's kind of started there. So I'll mark B now. Now if I push push the play button, sorry, it's just going to keep going around in a loop between the start point and the end point. So it's going to go up to 12 seconds, back to 8, back to 12 seconds, just keep going round in this little loop that I've created here. This isn't something that I really use, but imagine if you're a podcaster, or you know, you're on field and you can't get to a computer, you're going to find something like this very, very useful. So if I go back to the main screen, we've got record, which I just showed you, and we've got the RAC remote. I'll show you that in a bit. We've got settings, and we've got return to playback. Now, as it would suggest, you can record, and this is something that's quite useful actually. Push record, and then you can go in, you know, mess around with the settings, change things around, and then when you're ready, just go back into your recording. It's still recording. It's kind of bizarre actually that the music, the MP3 is priority, is the first option. You'd think that would be a little extra. Okay, so we've got the settings here. We've got recording settings, playback settings and common settings. Recording settings are the settings that were from that recording option. When I was recording, you probably saw that I pushed option and it brought up all these options. And these were the options that it was bringing up. So you can either go to it from the settings menu, from here, or you can go whilst you're looking at playback, looking at files, you can, or you're recording a file. So I've got all those settings there, but if I had to start recording, and I pushed option, or the options are different actually because I'm recording, you can see all the options are there. So it just depends how you want to do it. Okay, so I'll quickly take you through all these options. You've got the recording folder. So you can change from the built-in memory to the SD card, and you can change the folder. Now I've only got one folder there because I normally just put everything in the one folder, but you can create a new folder if you want to, organise things a little bit better. Now here's scene select. This is something that I thought I would use a lot at first, but I've tended, because most of my videos are the same as far as unboxings, as far as plugging in an external microphone, I haven't found that I've been using this as much as I thought I would. But I love the fact that it's there because, when I do need it, it's there. So you can see I've got it set there as interview, but there's also soft music, loud music, you can create custom scenes, auto voice recording, meetings, lectures, voice notes, and I'll leave an interview. Now all of these things, they just change the way that it's set up. When I did start using this, I would tend to just use the auto mode when I was recording, but I have started to using it in manual to change the gain myself. And that's, when I'm talking about gain, this is something else that I love about this. Just to kind of jump back for a second, see when you're recording on this, I love the fact that you can change the gain whilst you're recording. That's amazing to me, because if you're listening to your audio, you can just change it if you know that it doesn't sound right. Or for example, say that I normally have it 22 and I start recording and I go, oh my god, I'm recording at level 30. I can just bring it down so that it's at the right level. So it sounds like such a little thing, but there's so many of these little things in this device that it all adds up, and it, for me, as a practical way of recording, all these little things are incredibly useful. So I'll jump back to where I was. Okay, so you've got recording mode, and this is where you choose the settings. As I said, I've been using the high setting. It probably is kind of pointless for me to do that, because every one of my videos is going to be uploaded to YouTube. So when it's uploaded to YouTube, obviously they use their own compression techniques, and you lose a lot of the quality anyway. But it's just good for me. I think if I can get the highest quality audio in the first place, is better. So I always use the highest setting. But you've got all the MP3 settings and you've got the lower LCPM. Apart from the highest one, as I said earlier, I get 15 hours battery life. All the other ones will give you 30 hours battery life. But it's meaningless to me. I've still never had to charge this, so it's kind of pointless even talking about battery life, because it's kind of unlimited as far as I'm concerned, because I've never had to use it. Okay, built-in mic sensitivity. You can see I've got it on manual, but you can put auto gain. So when you choose auto gain, you can see you've got voice or music. Music's not one I choose. Low, medium, high. But for me, it's always voice. Auto, high, medium, low. And when I did my initial test of this, auto is quite good. I found that when you do them individually in a room, I found that high, the gain's a little bit too high. You pick up a lot of buzzing. Medium's okay. Low is good if you're taking notes. So if your mouth is really close to this and you want to use this as a dictation machine, you would really use low. But if you're just a few feet away, it's too quiet, and it's hard to even boost it up in Premiere Pro or Adobe Audition, things like that, or Audacity. It's just too low for me. With the built-in microphone, I found that I've just found it's better in manual. It's a lot easier for me to test things rather than choosing auto and then, you know, it being a crapshoot. But auto is a good option. You know, if I was in an environment where I didn't know what was happening, I didn't know, for example, it was outside, it was windy, I would probably use auto in that situation because I think this will handle it better than me. And, you know, if you're not in a position where you can do a lot of tests to see which is better, you know, if I was using this outside, it was windy or it was maybe too quiet, I would maybe use auto. And then you've got external microphone inputs as well. So I'll just use this little video micro and I can show you what happens. So this menu here actually comes in automatically. So you've got your microphone and you plug it in. So that would pop up. I'll show you that again. As soon as you plug this in, it goes on like that. Mic in, auto gain, manual, and all you have to do is just set it up the way that you want it. Now I've got it as manual there, but I could have set it as auto. But I really love the fact that these settings pop up all the time. You don't have to push them if you don't want. If you don't change anything, it will revert back to the settings that you've got in the settings menu. But every time you plug it in, you've got the option, and I really like that. It works really well because if I've got things set up, for example, this one I set up the gain differently than my Shure VP83. So when I plug it in, if I used auto with one microphone and manual with another, then it's really, it just means that every time I plug it in, I've got that option to change it. But if I don't do anything, it just reverts back to the normal setting. It's worth noting as well that you can use adapters. Now I've did another video where I've showed you how you can use an XLR microphone if you wanted to. If I can connect it. Okay, so I've got the Shure SM58 here, if I zoom out. So I've got the Shure SM58 and I can record using that. So I've did some audio tests using this microphone. It's really handy. I mean, it basically means this little audio recorder can be used to record any type of microphone. You can't say better than that. Okay, I'll just jump back to, where were we? Down at recording filter. So in recording filter, you can turn it off. You've got noise cut or low cut. Noise cut apparently takes off the low frequency and it will try and reduce noises from the high frequency as well. Low cut will only do from the lower frequency, so that's more for background noises, things like that. I've been using the noise cut from the start. I've been quite happy with it. Haven't tried low cut too much, but I'm quite happy with the noise cut option. It really is. I mean, again, it comes down to you need to play around with it and see what works for you and see what works in which environment. You've got the limiter too. Now this is something that I haven't been using, but I think that I should be using. You know, this will help you stop clipping, and that's something that I think could be very good. Again, it's not something I've used, but I have noticed, again, this is something else I'll show you just now. This is another great feature. Now, if I'm talking, I talk too loud, in fact, I'll turn the game up. When you talk too loud, see that? The red light, that's something that's very useful. When you're talking too loud, the red means that you're clipping. So you can see the top here, I'm reaching the top, that means I'm clipping. But if I've never used this, let's try it out. Let's see how it works with the limiter. In theory, when I'm using the limiter, it should stop that from happening as bad. I'm not sure how effective it is. So we're at level 30, it's telling me that we're over as well, but if I was playing this back, it wouldn't be so harsh with the cut. You know, it's going to kind of blend at the top rather than just be harsh clipping. As far as I know, that's how it works. I've not tested it in audio, but it's maybe something I should leave on from now on. But again, this is another little thing, this little red light, I'm always checking it, and when I'm using manual gain, when I look at that and I see that the red line is there, I know that I've got the gain set at the wrong level. so I need to bring it down. So I got it here. Okay, so this is that cross memory record feature that I was talking about. It's not available in the recording format I've got just now because I'm recording at that high res audio, but in any other format you can cross record. For whatever reason, the high res audio can only be recorded into the built-in audio, and the built-in storage, sorry. But if you choose any other format, then you can put in a micro SD card, and when the built-in storage runs out, it will just automatically start recording onto the SD card. So it's quite a cool feature. Okay, we've got, I believe that's voice recognition. So, invalid in manual settings. What this is you'll set this, when you switch that on, it should just start recording once it detects sound. Sync recording, now this isn't something that I've used yet, but I think it is quite a cool feature. If you're using, you know, some sort of older device or some other microphone with this, you've plugged it into the external microphone port. If you click on sync recording, if you start recording in the other device, then apparently it starts recording on this as well. It's not something I've tested yet, but it sounds like a really cool feature. And then we've got auto track marks. Now the T mark system is not something I use a lot. It's probably something I should use, but you can see here that you can set up 5, 10, 15 or 30 minute intervals if you want to automatically put in tracks, put in little marks. I think that was it, Yeah, so that's the recording settings. Then you've got playback settings. Now this is not something, when I play back I really just quickly listen or quickly check if something's okay. If I want to listen to something properly, I put it on my computer. But there are some options here. It's got clear voice 1 and 2. I don't know what the option is with this, I don't know what the difference is. The manual for this isn't the best. That's one thing with the audio recorder, the manual's pretty poor that you get with it. And I've actually got it here. So you can download the PDF. And if I bring the brightness down, you'll be able to see that a little better. But it's not the biggest, and it doesn't really tell you much. It really doesn't tell you anything really. There's not a lot of information about this. So this is one thing that I would note about this audio recorder, is that there's a few settings like this, clear voice 1 and clear voice 2, and I'm not sure what they do, and there's no explanation that I can find that tells you which one does one thing, which one does the other. So you're kind of lost in that regard. But it's not a feature I use a lot anyway, so it doesn't bother me if I'm honest. You've got effects here, pop, rock, jazz, bass, 1, 2, custom. Key change, something that musicians might find very useful. Again, these are all options that I don't really use. Easy search, forward, skip, time, reverse. Something else I don't use. Play mode, you've got normal, repeat, file play. So you can change when you press play what happens if it repeats on the next file, if it goes to the next one, if it shuffles. Playback range. So I believe what this does is, if you press play in a folder, then I believe what happens is that it will play all the tracks in the folder, whereas if you select all, I believe it plays all the tracks across all the folders. That's the explanation I got online from Sony. But common settings. Okay, so you've got the LED on or off. We've got the backlight. Now I've got to set 20 seconds and then it turns off, which I find is fine because, I mean, always on would be good I suppose if you're recording and you always want to be able to see the screen, but I find that 20 seconds is fine and it saves on the battery life too. You've got the beep that you can turn off if you really hate the beep. I don't mind it. As I said, I do like the beep because when you're recording, when you push record and you hear that beep, you know that it started. Language, you've got German, English, Spanish, French, Italian, I'm not sure what that is, that Polish or Russian, Turkish. You've got date and time, so you can set the date and time, you can change the format if you're American, European, etc. 12 hour, 24 hour. You've got a sleep timer, so if you can set it to record and then turn it off after a certain time. Anything between off, 15, 30, 60, 90 minutes, 120 minutes. And then you've got auto power off. Mine's is set at 30 minutes. Reset format, so you can reset all the settings. you can format the built-in memory and the SD card. It's quite good that you can do it separately. And then it's got the available record time for the chosen format. See, I'm still in version 1.0. There hasn't been any other updates, and you know, that's something again, I won't say it's worrying, but the fact there's been no updates yet after months after release, it kind of suggests that Sony don't really update their software. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it though, so it's hard to complain, I guess, because it does everything that it should be doing. Okay, I think that's there. So that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's basically how you use this little audio recorder. But what I'd like to do is go back and we'll see how this remote works with my phone. So the idea behind this is very simple. You've got a remote app that you use on your phone. I'm going to zoom out a little bit for you guys. And what we do is you click in and you can pair a device. Now I've did all this already. You can pair devices, Bluetooth information, auto power off message. But what I need to do is turn it on. So I've got my phone in airplane mode. I'll put my Bluetooth on and I'll go to here. So this is the app, REC Remote. I don't really use this, but I will say that when I have tried it out, it is pretty fantastic. I really like it. They've done a good job. So you can imagine this was on top of your camera, or it was sitting somewhere else on a tripod that was recording. You can sit this next to you and you can control it. So, right, record. It's recording. Zoom out a little bit more, you can see that. Should hopefully be able to see that everything that I do on this is being duplicated there. You can see you've got T marks, you've got record level. So you can put the record level a different place. You can see it. No, that's not changing actually. That shows you how much I've used this app. Okay, maybe, oh, that's what it is, the record level. So I've got record level at 20, right, so I can change it down. So this is me changing the gain. You can also add a T mark. So mark something as important, mark something as new topic, mark it as a question, add a track. All very useful. See that it's been saved. And at the top here you've got add to my scene. Got remote settings, backlight on when recording. So if that turns off, then I don't know if that just turns the backlight off. Yep, so the backlight isn't on there now, so you can turn the backlight on or off. I think it makes more sense to keep it on for me. No, in fact, it would make more sense for it to be off, because if this is sitting away, you wouldn't need the backlight to be on, you're just burning battery. But for the purpose of this tutorial, it'd be good for it to be on. Okay, so that's it back on. You can see it's got a little Bluetooth symbol down at the left hand side now. Another option in the settings area is to change the level meter from digital to analog. And as you can see, it just changes it. I prefer the digital option. I think it's more practical, but it's there if you want it. Select recorder. That's just for the Bluetooth settings. About and help. Help. Oh, there's actually some information there. I didn't know that was there. So as you can see, that the app is actually pretty good. It works really well. It's not something that I generally use because I normally just set it to record, and I'm so close to the audio recorder that I don't need to worry about that. But it's fantastic that it's there, and there might be a time when I do need to use that. So guys, I hope you found this closer look at the Sony ICD-SX2000 useful. I know I've kind of went through quite a lot in this video. I've went through pretty much everything that I could. I hope I've not missed anything out for you guys. As I said, I realise this is a boring video for most people, but for anyone who is looking to buy this particular audio recorder, I hope you found it useful. When I went to buy this, I was hesitant a little bit at first because there is zero information about this audio recorder online, not even from Sony. There was no videos, there was nothing. I'll just turn this off. And it was a little bit frustrating, so I did want to do a few videos to help you guys out there, because in my opinion this is a fantastic little audio recorder. Now the audio recorder is expensive, there's no way, you can't get around that, but I would say that in my opinion it is worth it. When I was buying it I was thinking, well, I could buy a Zoom H5 for like £20 more, why am I buying this small one? And I thought it was a little bit crazy. You know, a Zoom H5 has got better mics on it, you know, bigger mics. It's got 2 XLR ports, and it was only a little bit more expensive than that one. And it's arguably more, it's more practical, you know, in most situations. But what I really did love about this, it's the size. That you really, like, I know I keep talking about this, but the size and portability of this really can't be underestimated. It really is useful. All these little features, the little red light when it's clipping, the little USB retractable connection port there. The fact you've got everything that you need. You know, you can buy XLR connection cables if you want to use a proper mic. You can plug in 3.5mm cables, and the microphone that I normally use is actually recording on this camera here, and bring it up. That's the camera recording just now, and you can see that this is my Shure VP83, but this microphone is actually normally plugged into this. Most times I've got it positioned like this. I put the Shure on a little tripod and I just dangle the cable down into this and I record, and it works great. It really does work great. And again, the battery as well. The battery is fantastic. It really is fantastic. I really can't stress how good it is. I've still never had to charge this battery. So I'll maybe do another video for you guys about this in the future, maybe in a week or two, and I'd like to do some more audio tests for you guys just to show you what it can do. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed looking at the settings. I realise that I've kind of went through all the settings a little bit too much, but when you're buying something like this, when you're spending a lot of money, you know, it's important to do your research, especially when, you know, you're working on a budget. This was something that I knew that I'd be using for years, and when I was buying it, as I said, you know, I had the Zoom H5 was pretty much £20 more. This was more than double the price of the Zoom H1. But I love the fact that I don't have to always worry about batteries with this. I love the fact that I can just click it and I don't have to worry about cables. I have paid a premium for it, there's no denying. This is probably the most expensive audio recorder you can get in this kind of size and weight. But for me personally, I think it's worth it. I'm glad that I've paid the extra money. The fact is, if I'd bought a Zoom H1, you can't just upgrade it. You know, you can't just go, oh, I wish I bought that later on. So you kind of need to pay a premium at the start to get the device that you want. I did pay over the odds, I guess, you know, paid more than double than a Zoom H1, or, you know, there's other options out there as well from Tascam and Yamaha. But I'm very, very happy with this. It's not the perfect audio recorder, but it isn't too far off it. Thanks for watching, guys. If there's anything I didn't cover, or if there's anything you want me to, you know, cover in a future video, like an audio test or something, please let me know and I'll do my best to accommodate you guys. Thanks for watching. Any questions, down below, put it in the comment area and I'll do my best to help you guys out. Till next time, guys, take care and thanks for watching. Subscribe.